Hello, I'm Michael Santana. I'm a Senior Solution Architect in the M&E organization. Today we're going to be discussing the launch demos for the newly launched monetization solution focus area across categories of next-gen advertising, customer 360, and unification of linear and digital inventory. So first, we are starting with the shoppable video experience. Shoppable video enables purchasing and identifying items, specifically apparel in this circumstance, for purchase. You can see within this demo, we have two items that have been identified, a black dress, as well as a brown leather bag. By clicking on the item in this frame, you can see the items that have been identified that are similar. The experience is provided natively in the player and is activated when clicking pause. So through a Prime-like X-ray experience, we provide in the lower third as an overlay all the items which have been identified as similar to the apparel that's been detected in the scene. Once the item's been selected by a user, so in this circumstance, I'm going to choose the first item. You can choose the variance of the item, so across size, across color and quantity, and proceed to checkout. And place order. And after 10 seconds after placing that order, the content resumes from that point in time. And post that content resuming, the user can purchase a number of different items within that same playback experience. Second demo we're going to showcase is the activation layer on the AWS Cleanroom service, which enables business stakeholders to do joint collaborations in the absence of having to write code. So this demo is going to allow the instantiation of a multi-party collaboration and running a joint analysis without actually having to write code, use the AWS console, SDK, APIs, or CLI. So the demo works by dragging and dropping in data sources into the pane. After you've identified the data sources and selected them, you define how the data sources correlate. So the identifiers that join the tables through an intersection. So enforcing an inner join across the variety of tables, and each of these tables can come from different participants who have been invited to the collaboration. You can see the specific combined data source module or node that the user identifier from is the record, which correlates to tables. So I have a join on user identifier in both of the inner joins. The next step, define the aggregation of both dimensions or columns which need to be grouped over, as well as the mathematical function or functions to be applied. And optionally, you can select to apply filters from both the pre or post aggregation. So you can provide the filters which get passed through to the underlying SQL in the where clause or the having clause. After you confirm your selection across data table selection, unification for specific join keys for enforcing the intersection or inner join, the columns over which to group over, and mathematical functions, optional filters. Lastly, you want to actually execute your workflow. So you execute the workflow. This no-code activation layer submits down to the Cleanroom service a query with all of these parameters and configurations, and the response is provided back to the S3 bucket of the individual who submitted this query, and is picked up by this application and is rendered and showcased in the Visual Analytics suite. So the results themselves, they can be showcased both in raw tabular format, and they can also be re-rendered into a variety of charting capabilities, inclusive of pie charts, donuts, bar charts, and line charts. And additional aggregation capabilities are enabled as well. We're also showcasing a composable customer 360 story and demo narrative with partners Hightouch and Databricks. So Databricks operates as the intermediary layer for loading raw data tables, inclusive of subscriber information, clickstream information, QoS, and/or CMS data. That information is merged and enriched and aggregated. Using MLflow, we build a customer churn model to predict the propensities of subscribers to churn. This is using an XGBoost classifier model. We provide scores rather on a per customer or per subscriber basis, and those users are used to create segments within the Hightouch platform. So Hightouch is a reverse ETL tool. It connects natively and has a connector to the Databricks platform and submits down queries or audience definitions to Databricks such that it can activate those audiences to a variety of other downstream destinations. So this is the kind of persona for data engineer, data scientist is natively in the Databricks notebook environment. I won't go through all the specifics of the model, but the output of this model is a unique relation between the subscriber ID and their propensity to churn. So we want to take the users with a higher propensity to churn and take proactive measures to retain those audiences. Similarly, we want to identify the users with low propensity to churn and try to find other individuals to acquire through user acquisition-based tactics. Databricks platform is connected to the HighTouch platform. So you can see within HighTouch, we set up a source for Databricks. We also can see a variety of destinations, so options in terms of where audiences can ultimately be activated to. So there are destinations across advertising, marketing, CRM platforms, databases, e-commerce sites, email, etc. Audience feature, which allows for no-code definitions of audiences. So through logical and Boolean-based conditions, you can describe the definition of an audience, and you can also calculate the size of that audience and get audience insights. And the last component is for individuals with SQL experience, they can natively derive and define these audience segments in the absence of using the no-code feature. So this is a low-code option. We're also showcasing an advertising use case for generative AI with SageMaker Jumpstart Stability Diffusion from Stability AI. This demo is going to showcase creating ad copy or ad creative as a base image, and then using first-party data store to provide hyper-personalized ad copy. So this demo, you have to first define a type of product, a prompt for the base image. So the product I selected is shoes. Prompt I chose is person running in shoes, wearing full clothes, a full person, and of high quality. The next step is you define an audience. So I'm going to define an audience as athletic and persons aged less than 30 years. And it'll ask for confirmation of my audience selection thus far. So I'm okay with the confirmation. And lastly, the type of image style we'd like to generate. So anime, digital art, cinematic. I'm going to choose photographic. So at this point, we have everything we need to generate our base image. So this is going to be somewhat generic, but still relevant to the audience segment information product, as well as our prompt. So you can see that the model has generated an image of an individual. It's a man who looks to be athletic, is running, and is wearing sneakers. So at this point, we can associate additional first-party metadata. So think about this as an extension of a customer data strategy or customer data platform, where the customer profile store can be used to further augment this base image to create hyper-personalized, tailored content to each individual user or subscriber. So looking at the first-party user data or data store, I'm going to select an individual, John Doe. Looking at John, he's 30 years or less, he's male, he's interested in tech, sports, and financial investments, and he's a student. He lives in New York, USA, and I'm going to now choose a specialized prompt to further augment that base image. So I'm going to say a man or male running upwards on a mountain road. So it's going to ask us lastly to confirm that additional specialized prompt information, and we're going to generate the specialized image. We're hoping that this image will showcase a man similarly younger age, athletic, running up a mountain road, which it did. To conclude, that was the no-code activation layer on the AWS Clean Room service. Thank you for your time.